Day 24, Unus Annus. I have this computer that my sister lent me for about 10 minutes, so let's get going, because I can't read off of my phone while I'm videotaping or else it stops the video. So, today, get the finger off the camera. Today's thing is I'm going to be reading a Dick's old fanfiction that I wrote for Welcome to Hell, which I was obsessed with back in 2017 when I wrote this. And like all my obsessions, they are fierce, they die down, but they don't burn out. I still very much love Welcome to Hell. Okay, so I base this off of a dream, and which is always a good start. And I actually wrote it as a script for my AV class, because we were going to be filming a short film that we made. And so I tried to make it more like an original work. So I took it from fanfiction form, turned it into a script with original characters, and then translated that script back into a fanfiction. And it's really old. So it's super duper embarrassing. But nothing is embarrassing when you're confident. So. And also the main point is that the characters are playing D&D, which I knew all about back then. I didn't even watch The Adventure Zone. Well, listen to The Adventure Zone. So, here's the summary. John Lemon is traveling alone, taking his wares to a trading town on the coast. In his travels, he is stopped by a necromancer by the name of Cyan, who is intent on eliminating him. However, the villain obviously isn't good enough for Jonathan, and he's a major jerk to talk about his skills as a CM, Casual Master. Just a silly drabble, my dudes. So I had a dream where the boys were playing D&D, and all I could think about after waking up was how I wanted to turn that into a fanfic. Then lo and behold, I already told this story, didn't I? But, these are my notes. Lo and behold, that morning, my AV Tech and Film teacher wanted us to write a short story to turn into a script. So basically this went through totally not fanfiction phase and is being translated back into a fanfiction. The characters are pretty dang out of character and the whole thing is rather silly. Just posting for fun. Also, I know jack about D&D. So since I have writer's omnipotence, they are not playing Dungeons & Dragons, they're playing Cashos and Dracos. Totally different rules. Enjoy this nonsense. I haven't changed much. Just got some new ways of vocalizing. Jamelin strode through the trees, seeing a break in the woods up ahead. His trek had so far been undisturbed this morning, and he was tense with the knowledge that peace cannot last forever. As he approached the edge of the clearing, he scanned the area. The ground was level and grassy, still maintaining a faint glimmer from the morning dew. As far as he could tell, it was completely barren of any life, aside from the buzzing of a few insects. He stepped into the field slowly, hand on the handle of his knife, strapped to his hip. He continued his cautious stride, wary without the protection of the trees. After a few yards, he loosened up, convinced he was safe for the time being. Yet he still didn't desire to be out in the open too long, and he picked up his pace. There was a long way to go to get to Rornstead, where his traveling companion Lilith had agreed to meet him. He carried valuable solvents and a couple of potions he snatched off some downed goblins, and he was still on the lookout for more attainable goods he could barter off. Hopefully, Lilith was also met with fair hunt in her travels, and together they could make a hearty amount of gold on their wares in the trading post city. Just as Jamelin could see the end of the clearing, he spotted a short flash in the woods. He instantly drew his knife and fell into a defensive position. He glared at the area the flash appeared for a tense few seconds, waiting for more movement. Eventually, he heard a faint but sharp pattering of footsteps and prepared for an ambush. There was a shocking ringing noise, followed by an explosion of a dark purple smoke. I picked these names off of a generator where I put the characters' names in, and it was just like, here's your fantasy name. And it's... and they're pretty much just keyboard smash the names. Anyway. Jamelin was stunned, coughing and swinging his knife with one hand, trying to wave away the smoke with the other. In his daze, There was a force on his throat, and he was pushed to the ground. When he recovered from his fall, Jumlaman blinked and saw a figure standing above him, blurry and dark. "Who are you?" he demanded with as much strength as he could muster. The smoke had finally cleared enough that the mystery assailant was revealed. "I am Necromancer Cyan." Cyan? I literally don't know how to pronounce this name that was given to me. Dropped at my doorstep like a bag of shit. "You're an intruder in the Night Raven's coven. Do you have a death wish, human?" Jonathan looked... I actually wrote Jonathan instead of Jomlaman. Anyway, I didn't go over this once. Jonathan looked the necromancer up and down. He was a light elf covered head to toe in dark grey robes. Hood pulled over his lightly colored face. He could see sharp blue eyes glaring through the shadows. "No, I am but a traveler. I am on my way to Rornstead to meet my companion and sell my wares. I meant no harm by passing through here. Regardless your intentions, ill or otherwise, I cannot let an outsider defile the sacred ground of our coven. Therefore—" "Wait," Gentleman interrupted. "The Night Ravens? I've never heard of that coven." Cyan scowled. "And what are you, some sort of necromancy coven genius?" "No, but I studied this path extensively before I began traveling. There are no covens within a 50-mile radius of here." Cyan faltered. "We're a secret coven." Gentleman laughed and stood up, dusting himself off. "All necromancy covens are secret. That doesn't mean anything." Cyan became too flustered to accuse him for standing up against him, and fought for a valid answer. We're new." "Must be brand new. I only started traveling a day ago. Don't covens typically take several months to establish?" "Well, I just realized you were armed," the elf cried, pointing an accusatory finger at the scavenger's knife, still firmly gripped in his right hand. "You are a threat. We must duel." "Wow, that was really bad. You're not very good at this, huh?" "Ah, Jonathan, you're such a jerk." Jonathan laughed at his friend, whose face turned her light shade of red. "Hey man, it's not my fault you're a bad CM, he said, then continued laughing. "That's not fair. I've never done this before. It's not my fault Lil bailed on us." The two of them were playing Cachos and Dracos. The session was just for fun and didn't affect the actual story, since the usual Cachot master, Lil, had cancelled at the last second in favor of going to a half-price special at the arcade. Because those exist. We've been playing this campaign for months, Sock. You really didn't learn anything all this time? What does it matter? This interaction isn't even canon. It's just to waste time. Sock folded his arms with a pout. Waste time? Jonathan repeated with false incredulity. I thought we were having fun one-on-one time. Well, we were until you were picky about my choice of conflict. Then let's keep going. Jonathan smiled, focusing back on the game. I flirt with the lying necromancer. Sock raised an eyebrow. Really? That's the route you want to go? Jonathan nodded. Roll the die. I don't know how D&D works. Back then. Well, I still don't. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Sock sighed dramatically, but complied. He snatched up the 20-sided die and rattled it in his hand, glaring at his friend as he did so, then threw it to the ground. It landed 20 side up. Oh my god, Sock groaned, while Jonathan slowly fist-pumped the air with a low, yes! Alright, you successfully flirt with the necromancer, Sock sighed. Oh no, you know I have extra charisma. I don't just succeed, I excel, Jonathan laughed. John Lemon looked at Cyan with smoldering eyes, causing the necromancer to blush and become flustered. The scavenger took a slow step forward, never breaking contact with those blue eyes. He reached a hand up to slowly cup the elf's sculpted cheek, leaning into, No, don't say that, Sock exclaimed in frenzy, stopping some unseen force from raising the age rating for this story. Jonathan laughed. So the necromancer is on my side now. That's a handy addition to the party. What? You want to keep him? Sock questioned. But he isn't even real. What will Lil say when she comes back and Jonathan again? Not John Lemon, Jonathan. Jonathan is also in the story, also known as John Lemon. Fucking consistency. What will Lil say when she comes back and Jonathan has some random necromancer boyfriend? Well, fine, Jonathan shrugged. If John Lemon can't have Cyan, then I'll just have to have Sock. Sock glared at him. You have nowhere near enough charisma for that. Sock, you're my boyfriend. I'm pretty sure I have enough charisma. Whatever. Sock couldn't suppress a smile. Cyan isn't joining the party. Fine, Jonathan agreed. But he is betraying you, Sock exclaimed, voice reverting back to the excited tone it had at the start of the session. Jonathan grinned. I pull my knife and attack him. You have to roll to see if you were able to draw out your weapon. Jonathan raised a brow. Seriously? Sock smiled lovingly. Seriously. So that was that bullshit. It's still fun. It's still fun. Like, I'm never gonna be embarrassed about the things I make. Even like the shit that I made, what was it, middle school? My Vocaloid fanfic? Man, I gotta find that. That would be the next time. Oh no, I'm not going home until the month is over. Fuck. I just wrote them in notebooks and they're so shitty. And really, really good. And by good, I mean terrible. Sorry. Okay. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed that, whatever the fuck that was. And I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, and thanks to my sister for lending me her laptop very graciously. Bree! 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 Thank you! She got angry. Okay. Memento Mori. Unus Annus.